another cause, perhaps a magical one. Amanda Yates Garcia is the Oracle of Los Angeles. She says she's a witch, tarot card reader, spellcaster, energy healer, intuitive medium, shamanic practitioner, and magical life coach. Last night, she helped cast a so-called binding spell on our president to prevent him from causing harm to others. We've asked many witches to come on this program, but only Amanda Yates Garcia was brave enough to accept our invitation. She joins us tonight from Los Angeles. Amanda, thank you for coming on tonight. I just had a panic communication, the commercial break, with one of my producers, Alex, who said, be nice to her. I don't want to spell on me. So I hope that you'll pull back on your powers and spare our staff. What does this mean exactly, that you cast a binding spell on the president?
Binding spells are like any other spell, so they're a symbolic action used to harness the powers of the imagination and achieve a tangible result eventually. Yeah.
And what was the result that you desired?
Well, I desire that Trump stop harming people that I care about and instituting policies that also harm me or other people that I care about. So my ultimate aim is that we protect the people that we love from having harm done to them. But in the meantime, I think what's really important is that we create a sense of solidarity and empowerment within the people who are participating in the spell to galvanize them towards action so that they can feel empowered to make the changes that they want to see in the world.
Most people just go ahead and vote or like buy a T-shirt. Is this legal? Can you run around casting spells on? Are you allowed to cast spells on people? Is there any kind of federal regulation of this?
Well, okay, so symbolic action is something that everybody participates in all the time, right? So you might think, oh, that doesn't really have any meaning. But if that were true, then, for instance, why would people care whether or not people saluted the flag or sang the national anthem? That's also symbolic action, and that kind of symbolic action does have power, and that's why people care about it. So while I don't think that any witch is thinking, oh, this is the only action that is necessary to prevent Trump from enacting his mean policies, I think that they're hoping that by doing these symbolic actions that will galvanize people to resist with our hearts, with our full hearts.
So, since you're the only witch, I've interviewed a lot of people, but I've never interviewed a witch. Sincere question, is eye of newt an actual ingredient?
Well, I think the real problem is not whether or not eye of newt is an actual ingredient. The real problem is we're about to have some kind of big nuclear extravaganza with North Korea. The real problem is that we're punishing immigrant children. The real problem is that we're
I mean, there are lots of problems, but that's still
to go into deep debt. I don't think the real problem is whether or not we use eye of newt in our
I'm not suggesting it's a problem, and I'm with you on the student debt, by the way, completely. I don't think Trump did that, but whatever. But it doesn't get to my question, which is eye of newt an actual thing or not?
Eye of newt, isn't that from Shakespeare? So I think he was probably using a little bit of poetic license. Most witches today use whatever we have available to us. For instance, candles and paper.
Does it ever worry you? I mean, by the way, I'm not dismissing what you're saying. I don't think that the only things that exist are the things that we can see. There clearly is a supernatural. I don't understand it, but I wonder if you're ever worried about the consequences of, bluntly, fooling around with things that nobody really understands. I'm sincere. Do you ever worry about that?
You know, a lot of people ask me that, whether or not I worry about the supernatural consequences of what I'm doing. I mean, I trust that what I'm doing is for the greatest good of all concerned, because that's what I hold in my heart. That's what all these witches are doing this for, is because they have the pure intention of creating good in the world, to make a more beautiful, loving, whole, healthy world. And so that's the intention that they're doing this work. So nobody's worried that it's gonna backfire on them, because nobody's doing this spell to cause Trump harm.
So you think, I'm not even talking about Trump, I just mean in general. Oh no, I don't think you are. But you think good intentions will protect you? I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of spooky, but you seem nice, and I'm glad that you came on.
If you need a lesson, Carlson.
No, I don't. Scares me. I appreciate it, though. Thanks for coming on.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. Even after seeing this, people are still going to say people like us are crazy. Because still they're not going to take it serious. You know why? Because when Tucker Carlson does stuff like this, and he acts scared and he acts afraid and he goes, oh, don't put a spell on me. I don't want you to put a spell on me. It makes people subconsciously still view this as a joke. As if, well, you know, these people, let them believe in what they want. It's not really sincere. But should this be a federal offense, casting spells? He even admits to the power of the supernatural. But of course, just like I say all the time, this woman just proves me right again, right? Talking about good intentions, because that's what these elites and these Satanists believe. Their good deeds outweigh their bad deeds. This is how they sleep at night. Well, I believe I'm doing this in the best interest of the people. My intentions are good. And then 2 hours later, they kill an animal, eat a fetus, you name it. You know, these are the sickest people walking the earth. But now suddenly, you know, I've been talking about this for how long now? Talking about these binding spells they've been casting, talking about everything involving witches and magic and sorcery, all in plain sight. Look at the videos I have just about the word magic, the songs magic, over and over, the repetition of the mind control that they use on us. Now they're bringing attention to it and they're deflecting. That's what this is. I know people want to say, well, at least they're bringing it to the attention of the mainstream. But if you don't properly address these things and address it with the severity that it needs to be addressed with, then it turns into something that becomes more of an entertainment segment, a lighthearted segment. And now all of a sudden Tucker Carlson is addressing this, right? Maybe he's seen, or some of these people have seen my channel and they've seen the attention. Oh, maybe we'll start talking about some of this stuff, but we'll deflect the attention off the severity of it. Because it's not a coincidence that tomorrow night, Tucker Carlson is having Lucien Graves on again, the head of the Satanic Temple. What a surprise, having him on again as a guest. Again. Guy's got 6,000 Twitter followers, no following whatsoever, but the guy is continuing to get on Fox News. And then they get him on Fox News, and they let him talk about how the religion, the Satanists don't really participate in anything to do with Satan, that they're really atheists, yet they're holding a black mass on Halloween. You can go through their Twitter account. I've had these people completely doxxed left and right, every single piece of information you could want on them. They are occultists, period. Playing the role of atheists, diverting attention. Now, are they powerful? No, not at all. They hold no power. As far as the pyramid goes, I don't even think they have an inside of the pyramid. I think they're just a group of people who want to be inside, but they do this for publicity and all this stuff because Graves is a guy who studied neuroscience at Harvard and a guy who understands mind control and a guy who won't address me because he knows I'll play the same game right back with him, which is fine. He can go on there and say what he wants. He has a right to free speech. But why are they doing this all of a sudden? Why is Tucker Carlson having him on his show? Why all of a sudden is he having witches on? And why instead of belittling the witches, because Tucker Carlson's supposed to play the role. And listen, we know that these guys on Fox News are frauds. We know all of these guys have been trained to be TV personalities. They know how to use mind control. They play characters. Fox News, all these people are supposed to play conservative Christians, and they're not. But still, people should ask the question who watch those shows and say, well, if he really is a Christian, why is he giving her such a, not giving her a hard time? Why is he just playing around saying, hey, don't you worry about the dangers of witchcraft? They're openly admitting to putting spells out, right? They're openly admitting that there's this large group of witches out there, and they're getting together and they're casting spells on the president. Shouldn't that be a federal offense? Shouldn't that be a crime? Even though Trump's one of them, shouldn't it still be? Hate speech is a crime now, right? Me speaking is a crime. So why, if there's power behind spells, which people seem to believe, I believe, why should they be allowed to do this stuff and get away with it? Oh, because we're supposed to think it's cool, right? She makes it look cool. She makes it look fun. They don't talk about the dark side of it. She says, well, we use things like candles and paper. I mean, who's buying that? Even the Satanists who saw that and real witches were probably cracking up, going, wow. And people bought it, right? Yeah, they just used some candles and some pieces of paper. Huh? Sure, they don't use sage. They don't use, they don't talk about their ritual circle. They don't talk about what demons they summon and the use of mirrors and all this stuff. It's just a big joke. And that's exactly why she was on. Exactly why. One, because it probably stirred up his ratings. Because he's like, oh, we can talk about witches. And then tomorrow we'll have the Satanic Temple guy on and we'll talk to him. And I'll give him a hard time, but we'll end up being friends at the end because that's what it'll be. Tucker Carlson will play, what a great guy Lucien Graves is. Doesn't know anything about his backstory. How about I call Fox News and I show him the police report that I have that has the Satanic Temple named in it, sending out terroristic threats. You want those kinds of people, domestic terrorism, on your show? Why, so they can come on there and try to make Satanism look cool? Is that the point? That's exactly the point. They just made this witch look cool. They tried to find a woman who is somewhat decent looking, not some fat, gargly witch. Have her on there and talk all nice and smart and intellectual. Come across as if, she's doing a good thing for humanity. And then they'll have Graves on. He'll do the same thing. Well, we're just talking about women's rights and equality. And people go, oh, that's great. These people are really great guys. Meanwhile, people like me sitting on the sidelines over here can't get an opportunity to speak. Every time I do a video, it gets flagged. None of these guys will call me to come on their show. I'll tell them how it is. We'll bring on victims and survivors of satanic ritual abuse. We'll see how funny it is to the people out there then who don't know anything about it. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. So Tucker Carlson playing his role in the game, bringing on witches, making it seem like, well, don't you worry about yourself and what could happen to you messing with the spirits out there? And they're like, well, no, not really. Nothing to do with, is it a crime, really? I mean, couldn't it be considered a crime? How many people have been arrested for posting Facebook posts against Obama or another president for having a difference of opinion? But see how they blur the lines and they go, wow, witches are real, spells are... All these people are just doing these spells for no reason, right? None of it works. They just keep getting together. They keep trying it. It's like I said a million times. It's like me starting a religion based around my feces and saying, hey, you can come over here. We're all going to stand in a circle around my toilet. We're going to chant in tongues. And then afterwards, money is going to fall out of the sky. And after that, we'll just do it every week. Then everybody comes and we do it and nothing happens. You think they're coming back the next week? This has been going on forever. These witches and these Satanists. The Bible talks about sorcery, magic, performing these things. God forbids it. What do you think? They're just doing it to troll Christians? They're doing it because it's real, because it works. Spiritual warfare is real. Yet the masses still go, it's just all fun and games. Yet then they go to watch Harry Potter. They give their kids a magic wand. They listen to the song Magic in the Car. 24 Karat Magic by Bruno Mars. Listening to that. I mean, it's all right in front of our faces, folks. It's all right there. I've been saying it from day one. Others have been. Just nobody wants to believe it. And this is just a complete mockery. This is stuff that drives me nuts. Because people like me work so hard to try to get the word out. To try to say, listen, spiritual warfare is real. There's really witches out there who are doing this, who are practicing black magic, practicing spells, casting spells on Christians, casting spells on others, whatever their religious beliefs are, casting spells on who they don't like, casting spells so that someone will have a crush on them. All this ridiculous nonsense that these losers do. Then you have the Satanists performing these rituals, walking around going, no, we're atheists, we want to get into your schools, and nobody blinks except for me and a few others on YouTube. But I mean, nobody in the mainstream media blinks, and they just keep giving them opportunity after opportunity to come on their shows and explain their religion, quote unquote, explain what they believe in, and they make it look cool. Oh, this is cool. Oh, Lucien Graves seems like a really great guy. Oh, what a wonderful guy he is because he supports women's reproductive rights. Nobody talks about how he harasses and gang stalks all of these people who have been victims of child abuse. and tries to talk them off a cliff through using mind control, the crap that he learned at Harvard. No one talks about that. Well, I'm talking about it. Question is, when am I going to get an outlet to do it? Because I'll put all of these people in their place. I'll put Carlson in his place. I'll put Graves in his place. You name the person. I will steamroll them faster than you can say gonorrhea. I will run them over verbally. But the simple fact is, they keep bringing these people on these shows because they're telling you that this is going on, because they know that people are becoming more aware because of channels like this. And then they go, well, it's not as dangerous as people make it seem, or they divert the attention off the severity of it. And what they're really doing is giving them a platform to promote witchcraft and Satanism. And it makes me sick to my stomach. I'm just going to keep praying that hopefully sooner or later, because trust me, I don't want fame. I don't want attention. I detest it. It makes me very uncomfortable. But you know what? I don't detest running over Satanists, running down witches. Not with a car. I mean verbally, exposing them. And I pray for the day that I get the opportunity to show people on a major scale, on a major level, that these people are frauds and these people are liars, and I can prove it. And you want to make them look like they're cool and us Christians look like fools? Well, I'll flip that upside down pretty quick. Because when people hear me verbally joust with Graves or any of these other guys, they'll immediately see what fools those guys are. But that day probably won't come, because they're going to continue to indoctrinate people with witchcraft and Satanism right in front of our faces and make it seem like it's nothing but they're just really, it's political, it's about equality, lie after lie, yet they target Christians left and right. Complete joke. Tucker Carlson should be ashamed of himself. If his people are watching my channel, which I have a feeling maybe they are, because I always think nobody watches, nobody cares, but maybe they do watch and they do care because they seem to flag every video I do. So who knows how many people out there really are watching. But if your producers are watching and maybe you're coming up with some of your ideas because you see the success of my channel, you go, maybe we should talk about this stuff because maybe we'll get higher ratings or something. Have some balls. Grow a pair of balls and call these people out for who they are. Otherwise, stay off the topic, because all you're doing is indoctrinating people with it and making it look cool without exposing it for what it is and running it over like it should be. These religions that they call them, or whatever they are, the Satanists out there, the witches, they should be nothing. Witchcraft should be nothing but roadkill at this point. But it's not. It's flourishing because the mainstream media and all of these major corporations want it to and are allowing it to happen. Yet it never gets addressed by the mainstream because they're all working for them. So why don't you grow a pair, Tucker? Jump outside the box. Show people that you're a real man. Are you a real man? I doubt it. Why don't you prove you are? I know you have a reputation of, oh, he's tough. He's going to be tough on Graves. Oh, he's going to be tough. Graves will probably run Tucker over. That's how weak Tucker is. Do something for once in your life. Make a difference. Show people that this stuff, that them claiming to be atheists, is nothing more than a lie. These witches who come on, why don't you just call them out for what they are? Hag, loser, low-life witches who cast spells on people. And 100 years ago would have been locked up for doing so. Give me a break. I thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families.